Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. It's the other guy in the canoe. Obviously my intro was not live, it not being canoe season. It's actually the day before New Year's Eve. That footage actually comes from my best friend's YouTube channel. You can find him at Jonathan Mullen on YouTube. All my trips are pretty much through his GoPro and his editing and whatnot. But this year we actually both have solo boats, so I decided I was going to get myself a GoPro and start recording a different aspect of the same trip. My name actually was inspired by another YouTuber that we ran into at Cedar Lake when we were coming out after Thanksgiving weekend. I actually commented on one of her videos saying, you know, I was the other guy that you met on Cedar, because my buddy actually recognized her from YouTube, so we talked a little bit, and so hence the other guy in the canoe. Seeing as how all the water is frozen right now, I figured I would just do a gear video, because apparently I have to upload 2 videos to YouTube before I actually show up on the radar. So hopefully I can get some videos out before our big May trip back to Algonquin, which we actually started planning last night, looking at different loops and what was possible and what was not possible. This year we should probably be going with 2 other friends of ours. Hopefully that all works out, everybody gets the time off and is able to get away for the 10 days. So anyway, here's my gear video. So I'll start off with my backpack. It's a Eureka 75 liter. I had a North 49 115 before, but every time I reefed down the straps, I found that the clips were coming undone really easily. So I also wanted to scale back my gear for single carries. Last May, it was actually one of the trips that I single carried bag and boat, alternating with Jonathan throughout the portages, and it went really well. So the 75 liter actually worked out pretty good. For a 1-week trip, I got it topped up pretty high, but everything fits in there, everything we need. Me and Jonathan actually tend to bring our own stuff plus communal stuff, so I'll bring all the wood processing tools. He'll bring the tarp, the extra tarp, and the bug shelter if needed. So we try and split the weight that way so that we can, you know, single carry and get through the portages relatively easily. This year I actually added on to the back of my pack. This is a little dry pack. It's made by Canoe. I don't know if anybody knows how to say that. Maybe if anybody watches this video, just post it in the comments. Essentially, it's just anything that I want direct access to, be it the water filtration, because at the end of the portages, I don't like to have to go through my bag to pull out the platypus before we get to camp. We like to have that done before we actually start setting up our stuff. I'll also keep, you know, GPS in there, first aid kit, any snacks for portaging or through the paddle. So hopefully that works out well. It's super lightweight. It was a little pricey, but the quality is really, really good. I was hoping that it would be a little bit deeper. It's about maybe 2 inches deep. I was hoping maybe something more, you know, 4 or 5 inches. But we'll see how it works out. It actually fits perfectly on the D-rings of the 75 liter pack, so that worked out well. Second piece of kit is actually hanging behind me. It's hiding my workshop from all you guys. It's a tarp that I've brought on a couple of trips. I actually love it. It's bulletproof, a little heavier than a regular tarp. It's the DDM. Got lots of tie-outs, lots of different possibilities. So essentially, I'll bring this if ever I do a solo trip and I need a tarp for myself. Jonathan usually brings a spare tarp because he has a lighter tarp for that. So or he'll bring the one that goes with the bug shelter. But yeah, for the price, you can't beat it. It's really, really good. So my main tarp for my hammock is it's right here. It's a UGQ Winter Dream 12. I love this tarp. My wife bought it for my birthday 2 years ago, and it's really well built. This year, hopefully, I'll be able to get a Winter Dream 13 because I use a Warbonnet Ridge Runner, and the way the spreader bars work on the Ridge Runner, it's a bridge hammock. The way the spreader bars work, in big wind and stuff, I can barely close the doors on the tarp. So the 13 will give me that little bit of extra, so it's just my apex that actually runs through the doors. I'll be able to close it up if ever we're on a really windy campsite, which we have been on numerous occasions. So along with my tarp, underneath that goes my Warbonnet Ridge Runner. Love this hammock. I actually was looking at hammocks when I was camping in a tent. I was looking at hammocks, but I like to sleep on my stomach. And everything that I heard about hammocks, you couldn't really sleep on your stomach. You kind of get away on your side. So I read a bunch of reviews on the Ridge Runner, and a lot of people say that because they're stomach sleepers, they can sleep perfectly on their stomach with this hammock. Ironically, every night I sleep in it, I haven't gone to my stomach once. It's super comfortable. A lot of field of vision because it's very low. It's not like less bathtubby than the gathered in hammocks. So yeah, the slight disadvantage to this is I actually have to carry the spreader bars, which give me a second. So here's the spreader bars that go with it. The new Warbonnet Ridge Runner actually has the spreader bars that nest inside each other, which take up a little bit less space, but essentially they're the same weight. So that's my hammock. I also got, this is a Warbonnet Blackbird. I haven't tried this out yet. I got it for Christmas from Jonathan. Looking forward to trying it out. I haven't really tried out a gathered in hammock overnight, really, but seeing as how I don't sleep on my stomach in the Ridge Runner, I don't see why I would want to in a gathered end. So looking forward to trying that out. So with both hammocks, I also have winter socks to go with them. So this is the winter sock for the Ridge Runner. It's called the Spindrift. So I have two doors, and I vent the doors according to how cold it is outside to not get too much condensation inside my hammock. This is the sock for the Blackbird. So I've used the Spindrift before. I have not used the sock before, so we'll see how that goes on my first hang. So as far as other things for my sleep system, I obviously have hammock straps. They're the original ones that came with the Ridge Runner. I actually had bought Dyneema straps from Dutch, but I found that because I have to pitch my straps a little bit lower on the Ridge Runner, I found that sometimes they slipped overnight. I don't know if I just was not doing it right, or if it maybe needs a higher pitch on the trees. I did change out part of my suspension on my hammock to these little Dutch bug buckles. So essentially that's what it is. The reason why I did this is because it gives me the opportunity to actually put my Spindrift on and off. You actually have to run the suspension through the Spindrift through these little grommets, and with the old suspension you actually have to take off the suspension and then run it through, put back on the suspension. So I just wanted to save some time and make it a little bit more effortless. And to finish it off, as far as setup goes. These are internal pole mod kit that me and Jonathan made. Well, actually Jonathan made. He found the poles on Amazon and we put them together. They just fit inside and really open up the hammock, which actually works really well with the Ridge Runner because it is a wider hammock because of the spreader bars. So I used to use an external pole mod kit, which kind of hooked up to tie outs on the outside of my winter dream. But since I got these, I haven't bothered bringing the other ones once because they're a little bit heavier than the other ones, but I get a lot more space. So, finishing off the sleep system. This is my underquilt for my Ridge Runner. It's by Loco Libre. It's a Ridge Reaper in lime green and purple. This I can't speak enough about this underquilt. I take it out of the stuff sack and it lofts up really quickly. I don't barely even have to fluff it up. It has the chevron baffles that George at Loco Libre kind of invented, I guess, or yeah, I guess we could say invented, but just super high quality. I've actually always wanted to do a review on this since I got it last year, but never had the time to. So there's my Ridge Reaper, my underquilt. And for my overquilt, we're going to go back to the UGQ. This is the UGQ Bandit in wide. It's 55 wide and 78 long, I believe. I got the 30 degree because I'm a really warm sleeper. I've actually had this down to minus 12 last year on a hiking trip. That was supposed to be a spring hiking trip to Algonquin in Easter, but because spring was so late, it was apparently our first winter camp trip, me and Jonathan. So that was interesting, it was fun. But yeah, super high quality, super warm. So now I have my cook kit, which everything's in here. It's a titanium cook kit. It's by Health Pro. I just got it off of Amazon. It was a decent price, and like I said, it's titanium. Everything nests inside. So I got the frying pan. I have the titanium knife, fork, and spoon. I stopped taking a spork because they just annoyed me. I had one of those plastic sporks the first couple of trips and snapped a couple of those. And then I had another titanium spork that every time I'd have something, something weight on the end of it, it would flip back because it was like a collapsible one. So that only came one trip with me. Then I also have my solo stove, which is a twig stove. This is actually great. You just pick up little twigs. I mean, everybody that watches these videos has seen a solo stove or a bush buddy, and they burn really super efficiently, and you can literally just sit in your chair and throw sticks that are within arm's reach, and it works out really well. I have my camp stove. It's the Frome by BSE, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it's a little tiny. Yeah, it's a little tiny stove. Just kind of flips out and packs away really really compact. And then the canister inside. For my next trips, I'm actually going to remove this from my kit and go with the alcohol stove. The reason why Jonathan actually bought an alcohol stove for last season, because he was kind of tired of having leftover canisters of fuel. So if you don't have enough for the next trip, then you kind of have to bring 2 with you, and it's a bit of a pain in the butt. So he upgraded his alcohol stove to a titanium one, so he gave me his old one here. So, and I mean, honestly, it doesn't hurt, you know, 2 guys out there using the same fuel, because, you know, if something happens, you know, it spills whatever, then, you know, the other person might be able to help you out. And to finish off the cook kit, I have a larger pot and a smaller pot with the perfect Algonquin campfire patina. So that's my cook kit. As far as water filtration goes, we both carry the Canoe Be-Free just in our pockets. So you know, we're canoeing, whatever, and we don't have to stop, or we don't have to worry about running out of water. These work really well. I just suggest that you kind of be a little bit, you know, over cautious with the bag. They do perforate really easily. Actually, I have to replace mine this year, because the first trip I got a bunch of pinholes in it. Now it's actually opened up. So, but I mean, great filter. So yeah, so if we go with more than one person, or more than just Jonathan, or on a longer trip, I'll bring the platypus gravity filter. Love this thing. You know, like I said, we fill it up before we get to camp, and as we're setting up our gear, we just kind of hang it from a tree, and it does what it's got to do. And then we have like 4 liters of water by the time we're ready to sit down and, you know, either make lunch or supper. But once again, yeah, this with the platypus, I suggest, you know, every second use, you know, back flushing it just to make sure that your filter stays clean, because when it gets clogged up, it's a bit of a pain in the butt to get it unclogged. I do keep a syringe to back flush that came with Sawyer squeeze. So yeah, I keep that with the thing in case, you know, there's some places where the water's a little bit dirtier and clogs up the filter a little bit more. Then I can manually back flush it. I also carry a Kilinox chair. Yeah, it takes up a little bit of room and a little bit extra weight, but this is actually the lightest ones that we found when we bought them. Super high quality, and it's nice to actually have something to sit on when you get to camp. Also made this ground cloth for it, so 4 legs of the chairs actually go in here, and then this straps to the middle thing, which anybody who's been to Algonquin in spring knows that that the ground is very squishy, and chair legs don't actually sit for too long in the proper position. Jonathan actually used to bring tennis balls to put on them before he got his ground mat, but it was, I mean, the tennis balls are big, they're bulky, and you pretty much have to change them, you know, every season, because they split open, and that's about it. I mean, tennis balls are not a fortune, but and finally, it's what do I bring as far as wood processing. So I have this 19-inch Condor axe. It was a decent price. It works really well, really sharp. I did add a lanyard onto here because I found that the first time I used it, if I didn't have a lanyard, it felt like it wanted to slip out of my hands all the time, so I added the lanyard onto it. I also have the Agawa Canyon Boreal 21. This makes makes processing wood or wanting to process wood all that much easier, because it sets up in two seconds. It's really lightweight and it does a great job. So those are the things that I bring that Jonathan doesn't: the axe and the saw. And then finally, I have my my knife and my fire steel. The knife is nothing special. It's something I found that that works for me. It's nothing crazy expensive. It's a Camillus. So yeah, I mean, I put the lanyard on it. Same thing with the fire steel. They're always on me. You know, when we're canoeing or when we're portaging. So that's always coming off my belt. And pretty much the last bit of kit is just my bag of mixed goodies. I actually used the bag for the heeling off the chair to carry all the stuff. So in here we have the headlamp, we have bear rope, teepee obviously, toothbrush, toothpaste, first aid kit, which will go in my new bag this season, Purell, spare GPS. We do use our iPhones with the GPS app with Jeff's maps on it for when we really want to make sure that we're in the right place. We have Jeff's maps all the time in the canoe with us in our map bag, but every now and then, you know, sometimes things look a little bit the same, or you can't count the number of coves properly, or you get distracted and you want to make sure you're in the right place. So that's why we use the GPS on the iPhone. I have a small fillet knife. Watched a couple of videos on how to fillet fish properly, and I had the 6-inch before, and the video I watched, the guy did a really good job and recommended the 4-inch. And since I've had the 4-inch, I've been able to fillet fish a lot easier. I'm actually getting pretty good at it. I just have to rewatch the video every year to remember all the various steps. And last but not least, for my my bear bag, I just use a 20-liter the Research dry bag. Lightweight. I don't see the point in having something heavier, like a, you know, bear barrel or whatnot. It's just an extra thing to carry. This actually fits perfectly in my pack. So I carry my food. Jonathan carries his food, both in the same style bag, and we've never had any problems with critters getting into them or whatnot. We just hang our food bags, you know, a bit back from camp, and haven't had any problems. So anyway, that's pretty much all my gear. I don't bring all of it, obviously. You know, I'm only gonna bring the one hammock, and you know, depending on how many people, we might tailor different things just to cut down on weight, because we do like single carrying now that we've actually accomplished it. As far as gear goes, I know a lot of this stuff is very expensive. So I mean, if you're just getting into this, I mean, to get to this point, we started canoe tripping 4 years ago, and honestly, we didn't know if we'd like it, so we bought some lower end stuff, and it was heavy. You know, we still had fun. We had a great time, but it was heavier. So I mean, if you do want to get into this, my suggestion to you is maybe, you know, every season try and invest in something that's a little lighter and a little bit more quality, and then eventually, after, you know, a couple of years or a couple of seasons, then you actually are at the point where you want to be. You know, I mean, it is a passion. So I mean, if you invest in, you know, whether it's music or, you know, any other skiing, you know, it's an investment. But if you don't want to go crazy and get everything at once, you don't have to do that. There are a lot of lower priced things on Amazon or at Sale or at some of the other mech that you could get by with, and it's it's not going to kill the bank, but it is a little bit heavier because it is less expensive. So I mean, like I said, it took me 4 years to get to this point. My bag is all in with food for a 1 week trip. I'm just over 40 pounds. I think it was at 41 pounds our last May trip. So considering my first trip, my bag weighed over 110 pounds. I think that kind of says a lot. So anyway, this will be my first video. I'm gonna try and actually get some other videos out before the May trip. I recently bought my solo boat, like I said earlier. It needs a little bit of repairs, so I got a really good deal on Kijiji for it. So I wanted this canoe for about 3 years, and it just kind of worked out that I got it this year. So I'm gonna try and maybe film a time lapse or something. I have a gel coat repair to do it, and I'm gonna do some modifications to it, bring it up to what I want for a tripping canoe. So I'll have that, and I mean, I'll have some hammock videos. Me and Jonathan, we do hammock in the backyard in my place quite often over the winter, and who knows if there'll be a canoe trip in the stars before the big May trip. But for now, the big May trip is what we're gearing up for. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Right now, as I'm going to upload this, I actually have 2 subscribers, and they're both friends of mine who come canoeing with me. Well, one's Jonathan, and the other's my buddy Edgar. So anyway, enjoy. Hope you liked it, and leave your comments. Any constructive criticism is more than welcome. And see you soon.